Hey y'all, so today we have a new video where I play a decent game of chess. It's not my best game ever, of course, but it's fine and I'd like to show it. So let's get into it now. D4. My opponent starts off the game with B6, which is interesting. I normally don't like to take the whole center. I really don't like playing E4 in any structure. The only structure I ever play E4 in is if my opponent plays it like a King's Indian, and here obviously it's not a King's Indian, so I just go Bishop F4 here, and I go C4, taking some space on the Queen side. This is what I normally play here. I like these ideas of putting my knight up and trying to like block back his bishop with the move D5 in some lines. I really like that. It's not the best way to play, but I find it to work some of the time. So here, knight C3. My opponent goes in with the pawn. Decent move. I have to go bishop G3. Knight comes out to F6. And I just lock up the structure and I blunt his bishop, which is kind of like what I normally like to do in this opening. And I thought that this was a decent way to play, but it's not really, because what happens very quickly is that my opponent plays G6. He's going to develop the bishop out to this long diagonal. It's going to be tough to keep my knight on this square with all the pressure in here and all the way over here, and I might be in a pickle. So I just play some natural moves. I go here, bishop comes out to the normal square. I play B4, which is not the best move. The reason being is because normally in these positions, and I have to change up my style for this, I like to make like some attack on the queen side against his light squared bishop, like bring my queen over, bring my rook over. But a lot of the time, and I've noticed this a lot of the time, there's actually no real benefit and he's just able to easily defend, which is something I need to work on, and I just need to change my mindset up for that. But either way, B4 is played, my opponent castles. And here I just play another bad move. I should just develop my knight to F3 like a normal person. Instead I play A4, which is really, really aggressive. Simply the idea being that like I want to play A5. I want to play A5 and I want to do all this stuff, put a rook on B1 and start like attacking him. And if he allows it, if he plays like, I don't know, H6, I get A5 off, and like BA5, BA5, somehow not correct, but I guess rook a5 is the idea. Rook a5, and this position is actually quite decent for white because I get my queen and I get my rook in. I have a really large space advantage on the queen side, but my opponent's not going to allow me to do that. And instead of h6 would be an insane move, my opponent plays the best move, which is a5. Coming over there, I play queen b3. Another mistake, but it's reasonable to see why I wanted to do this. Basically, I just want to recapture with the queen and then play a5 next. That's kind of my whole point. And I might play takes, probably not, but maybe, because then he'd have to take with the rook and we get into some interesting position. Either way, my opponent captures. I captured my queen, which is like the whole point of that move. My opponent goes knight in, and already I start to feel some pressure, and I realize that the main issue of my position is that my opponent's getting to get a beautiful knight on this square. This knight is going to be pinned to my rook in the corner in some lines, and it's gonna be rough. So what I do, I'm like, okay, I don't want the knight to land on e4, just being very, very prophylactic, concretely prophylactic. I play f3. I know you're not really supposed to play f3, but in Feingold it always says never play f3, but this move seemed very, very natural to me, just stopping a knight from coming here, and I wasn't scared of this move because I was going to play f4, and if a knight landed here, I mean, I would just take, he would have a weak pawn, I could probably just come out with my king and win it in some lines, so I was never really scared of that. My opponent decides to go for it with e4, I go f4, which is my whole idea. My opponent here finds a nice move, technically not the best move, but still gets the brilliancy prize. He plays knight g4 for some reason. It's not that impressive of a move. Basically, he's just saying, oh, well, you can't take my knight, and my knight's getting active. Like, okay, it's fine. I don't take the knight because I'm not an idiot. I just go bishop f2. Like, obviously the best move. Takes, takes. I really don't like this move, actually. I really thought that the knight on g4 was like a beautiful outpost for the knight, and what he could have done was just like play rook e8 very lazily and like continue to develop. Maybe he can even bring the queen in with like queen f6. An engine line is a very interesting engine line. It's play c6, and then after like dc, bishop c6, you're actually just coming down the center. That's very interesting. He could have gone for that, but instead he trades off his good knight for my bad bishop, and I don't really like that. I don't really like that decision. Maybe he thought that he was getting the bishop pair and that he would have something good. Okay, I guess you're right, but I take back with the king. My opponent comes in with this knight, which I also thought was really bad because, of course, I have to capture. He's forking my king and queen. Of course, I have to capture it. But now I'm just thinking, okay, well, he has this weak pawn on d6. On d3, I'm just going to be able to win it by, like, very simply just bring my rook over and picking up the pawn. I play rook d1 in, like, no time because it's a very easy move to play. I'm putting my rook in the center, I'm targeting his weak pawn, and everything is going pretty well. And in all honesty, right now, I'm kind of feeling the game kind of slipping back into my control, whereas earlier it was out of my control, and my opponent makes a mistake. He plays c5. And c5... I thought was a very interesting move. Obviously, en passant exists, but I didn't think this was correct because I didn't like that I was opening up his bishop and getting everything in there. I guess in this line, what do I even have here? I was thinking this move, but actually queen h4, and I just lose because all of this. So what is it? Knight f3? Just stopping this? But then I thought, okay, at the very least he can like trade some pawns here. I don't know. I didn't really think that this was that good, and I just didn't like getting his bishop back into the game, so I decided not to take en passant, and I just played queen back, which is a miss for some reason. The reason why is kind of insane. What is the reason why? Yeah, it's bishop c3, and I of course I saw this line, but I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna take here. But actually, after here, g3, I thought I was fine here. Queen e7, this is all just the engine line. Let's say knight f3, very reasonable move. b5, only move if captures. Rook here, no, not rook there. Queen e4, not rook e4. Queen e4, threatening some weird stuff with this rook. I have to go like, rook c1 was kind of what I thought made sense, but now he actually just takes on d5, and it's rough. And if I decide to defend that, square, actually rook a2 comes, and he's going to pick up the d5 pawn, just like this, and he actually has some nice sacrifices because this is simply over. Actually, it's not even a sacrifice because the rook is just defended. But yeah, it's a very interesting line. My opponent doesn't find it, and I didn't expect him to. Instead, he plays queen f6, which is pretty reasonable, but it just gives up the pawn. And in reality, the move I was expecting was bishop c3 and then this line, but I didn't see what comes after. I just thought this line made sense. See, we're trading pawns. He's getting my my weak pawn for his weak pawn. Everything seems pretty good. I'd probably take back with the queen, actually. But anyway, instead, queen f6, and I'm like, okay, well, free pawn. Why not? I mean, you're not even attacking my knight anymore. Free pawn. I'll take it. And my opponent goes back with the bishop. Somehow it's still equal here. I suppose that the reason why it's still equal is because my opponent might have some pressure on my king, but I don't really see it. And I played knight b4 because I'm like, okay, well, this makes sense, right? I'm putting my knight onto a better square. My knight's going to go here anyway. Why not put it there now? Like, this pawn is weak. Everything is going pretty good. And I thought that my position was just amazing. Bishop f5 comes. Rook d2, of course. I'm solidifying everything along my king's rank, and everything's pretty good. I'm not scared of bishop e4 because I'm just going to play knight f3. He goes bishop e4. I go knight f3. Everything happens. My opponent makes a big mistake. He takes on f3 with the bishop. I think probably expecting me to take with the pawn, which isn't bad, but it's not the best move. Instead, I take with the king, and my position is already like much better. The eval just simply says that I'm up a pawn and black has zero compensation for it. I don't have compensation either, for the record, but I am simply up a pawn. Now, my opponent goes g5, I go g3. I mean, very normal stuff. I'm going to put my king on g2. If takes, I'm just going to recapture with the e pawn probably, bring my rook to the e file. Everything seems good there. My opponent goes here. I go my rook to the f file, which I thought was a very nice idea. Simply, my idea is to go king g2, and then like I have some like arbitrary threats against his queen, but maybe it wasn't correct. But either way, I thought it was pretty decent. He gives me this check, which I thought was wrong because I'm already going to go king g2, and now he doesn't even have any pressure against me. The only move here that I thought made any sense was to play h4. He doesn't do this. h4 I thought made the most sense because then I'm actually in kind of a conundrum. Either I take on h4 and allow the queen in, and I mean, yeah, obviously he has nothing, but it's a little scary. Or I can like do some other stuff there. But either way, my opponent brings his rook there, and he brings the wrong rook there too. I thought rook f e8 made more sense. Oh wait, no it didn't. No, obviously not fork. But I still, either way, I still thought that he was like not putting his rook correctly, because now my pawn isn't being attacked after this move. And after h3, which I thought was very natural, simply targeting his pawn structure. If he allows me to take, I will do so, and then I might get the h file for my rook. Everything seems good. If he takes, I'll just take back with the king, no problem. And my opponent here puts his rook on e4. Pretty natural move. It makes lots of sense. I take on g4, takes, and I simply here play rook e2, defending the pawn against any like strange moves, just like prophylaxing the defense of the pawn. Of course, pretty natural stuff. Rook f8, he keeps defending. I play the move rook h1, which I thought was decent because I'm simply putting my rook on a good square. I might bring my rook up here in some lines, and my king can always play defense too. There's no bishop move because my knight takes, and I thought this was probably decent. And my opponent immediately blunders. Simply fork. Simple fork. My opponent just completely forgot about that, I guess. And this phase of the game ends quite swiftly. Here, I take the rook. There's a couple more complications. I target his rook. The reason I do this is not really to attack him. It's mostly to prevent him from moving, because then I might have this move and there might be some terrible complications, and he doesn't want that. He goes here with a bishop. I mean, okay, he's attacking my pawn. I can't take. I just pushed my pawn, which I thought was pretty funny, because what I'm doing, I'm simply going to play this move, and this is like a massive threat. Because if he allows me that, then I'm either going to promote, he's going to take with the queen and lose the rook, which is pretty good for me. Now, queen there, pretty good move. I move my king over. I don't want to be in the line of fire. He has this nice move, but after here, this position is simply winning for white because of my passed pawn. And his king isn't in time to defend it because I simply take the bishop. The rook opens up, everything like that. He comes back with the queen. I simply take the bishop. Queen takes. He gives me this check. I block with my queen. He has no more checks. He goes over here and simply gets mated in 3. After check here, mates. Which is a very nice checkmate. Yeah, and that was this game. This game was one of the smoothest games I've had in a while. I know there were many mistakes, many inaccuracies. I only got in like a, let me check. I only got like a, 81.7% accuracy, which isn't the best. Not something that you want, but it's a far cry better than the way I've been playing recently. And I kind of want to see more of this because I felt like I was in control of this game. I felt like I kind of dealt with my opponent properly. Yeah, so that was this game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found this entertaining, instructive, all of the above. Remember to like, subscribe, do all the normal things that YouTubers tell you to. And yeah, good evening and good night.